Welcome to the Adderley podcast.
So we are happy to be back. My name is Trisha. I will let these guys introduce themselves. We can start with Tabitha.
Hello, my name is Tabitha Tusingwire Kaganzi. I am married to Mr. Kaganzi, only Mr. Kaganzi. We have a little boy, 2-year-old boy, baby Amani. Well, he's now a big boy, Amani. I am an accountant by profession and I love the Lord.
Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Ethel Tuhaire Faith. I am the youngest member of Adderley. I'm in my third year, final semester of law school at Makerere University. I'm not married. I have no children. I do have a business called Artistic Enjoyment. We do paint and sips. And yeah, I love the Lord. I'm growing with God. Let me just say it like that.
Did you guys hear the accent? Take your kids to good schools. Full stop. Anyway, today we're talking about campus life as a Christian. That's our topic for today. Mm-hmm. So we'll begin with an icebreaker. What shocked you guys the most when you got to uni? Like, what was that shocking thing? Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, so I went to university in South Africa, and what shocked me was when my parents took me to look for a hostel, and we were welcomed by a man dressed like a woman. It was our first introduction, both parents and child, to the LGBTQ.
Oh my God.
LGBTQ community. Yeah, because in South Africa it's
very kawa.
Yeah, and at the time in Uganda it was like really quiet, but in SA it was really exposed. So my parents were like, where are we leaving our child?
How? What have we done?
Yeah, what have we done? But yeah, that was the thing that shocked me the most.
Yes, Ethel.
What shocked me the most was people, they just speak Luganda in class and on WhatsApp platforms, like the official class group. Why are we speaking? Okay, I don't want to call it an informal language, but I think I was used to like school being very professional, and our groups, like if it's for school, it's very professional and people carrying themselves in a professional manner. And then I went to MOOC and you're just hearing Luganda in the middle of every single thing. There's a class group with a lecturer and they're still sending God knows what kind of messages. So that, and then the fact that like not all men are gentlemen, because I was like in a Christian international school, so in my head like guys are supposed to be a specific way.
Low blow.
No, not a low blow. The first time I took the Nana Chateau, there was girls standing and guys sitting, and I remember I called mom. I called mother the moment I reached campus. I called her. I was like, "You're not going to believe what I've just seen." And she she laughed at me. She laughed at me and she's like, "There's going to be a lot more of those," and there was. But yeah, what about you?
Well, you guys, what shocked me most? So at campus I was in hostel, and my next door neighbors used to do weed. You would ask yourself, did we come to study or to just like, did they come to study, or do your parents know what you're doing? Like, anyway, those guys would do the most, really. Like, they would even miss class. For some reason I hope they don't see this.
You'll be fine.
They would miss class, and like you just find the whole corridor smelling weed. And that was my year one. I was just like, I think this is how things be here. Like, people can just do whatever they want. Then in the night they used to go to the rooftop. Now the rooftop, everyone.
What hostel were you in?
I won't say the hostel because that's how I remember. It's like, Anyway, so yeah, people would do it to the point that I think it got really out of hand, that the custodian reported it to I think the owner, and they ended up chasing the guys. Yeah, can you imagine? They chased you out of a hostel.
For weed.
Not even whole. But for weed, how do you tell your parents?
Yeah.
Because they write anyway.
They
so
what?
that they write letters to inform like why they have just your son or why your son can't come back. So that was like the most shocking thing. Yeah. Anyway, so what was it like trying to stay godly amidst the chaos on campus?
So for me, it wasn't very hard because the friends I had moved with from high school to university were also God-centered. So it was easy for us to find a church on campus and stick to that church. We merged ourselves in the community of that church. So it wasn't really hard, though we'll still have the occasional shock of you're coming from church but coming from the bar. Yeah. But it really wasn't that bad. Like, the shock wasn't too much.
Interesting. Yeah, so
I think for me it's the opposite. Okay, one, I think there's a lot of things to take in mind. I feel like in my uni and in like the spaces I am in, it's either you're like those Christians who are always like throwing God in people's faces, and if you don't believe in God, you're going to hell. Or how can you say you're Christian and you're doing this and this and this? And I've never been one to be judgmental. I would like to think so, at least. And so then I'd end up finding myself not speaking about God, not because like I don't want anyone to know, but it's because I'm never gonna be that perfect babe. And then like that, the people that are calling themselves Christians, that's the standard they're setting, which I really don't think is fair, because all of us struggle and all of us fall short. And like there's that verse that talks about how in our imperfections God is made great, right? And like when you are pretending to have it all together and looking like the perfect Christian, you do a lot of more deterring people from God, at least in my opinion, than you do. So then like people that got to know me would find out I'm Christian, or like I would say I don't do something and they'll be like, why? Then I said, because God this, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I thought you're Christian. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, but then also lately I've been realizing, or last year I realized that, I mean, I don't want to blame Satan, right? But I saw a TikTok and it said that you not speaking about God because you're not perfect is the devil holding you back and making you feel guilty for where you're fallen to not speak about him. So I think for me that was the first struggle. But then also like I've gone to All Saints my whole life, right? So when you go to MOOC, everyone's like, just go to St. Francis. I'm not switching church, not in a bad way. St. Francis is a wonderful church. I just can't
maybe
see.
just for like fellowship.
But All Saints has
all of
a fellowship as well for MOOC and all the other campuses. But this is the thing, I couldn't see myself going to St. Francis. And then also like, you know, when you're used to Sunday, you wear your nice dress, you sit in daddy's car, you go to church. Going to church on a border, I think that was pride or something like that. I struggled for like the first 2 years, and I'm in my finishing my third year, but like for the first 2 years I was like, I'm not going to church on a border. I'm not going to church in a nice dress on a border with heels.
Well, you console yourself that it's in the morning, so like
that's even worse. People who go to All Saints are always meeting, and then there's 7:30 coming out. I'm like, let my aunt, like people I know, it's not even strangers. Like when you're going for a party, you don't know the people. Church,
the border can drop you like a distance.
Then you just walk.
Guys, so just know I had failed to go to church. I used to beg Ma every morning, come pick me please. Come pick me please. But now I think I'm over that. Like if you see me on a border in heels and you don't think it's not appropriate, buy me a car. No one is stopping you. But
I like the growth. I like the growth.
And so either I do that or I do online church now.
Okay. I think trying to stay godly amidst the chaos. First of all, you have been to MOOC in like good times, because the times I was at MOOC there was riot after riot. If we're not rioting for not me, the people that were rioting.
It's okay.
But not-
But there's riots while I was there. I feel like you just
For
stay
real.
out of the riots part.
This recent time,
There've
there's
been like 2 riots, okay?
wow, yeah, it hasn't changed.
2.
But
Just leave campus.
man, like, okay, the reasons as to why they would form this or stage these riots were very valid. They were valid reasons, but like everything that goes on amidst the riots, like the kavuyo, the assaults, you end up in jail, all for what? But it wasn't easy. I think also because of like the different perceptions, like at campus. You reach there and you just like, there are these people that know, like, if you're dating, you're obviously doing things. Like, it doesn't make sense but then you're a Christian and there are certain things that you follow.
That blows my mind still, guys. There are people in relationships waiting till marriage. It's not impossible. I'm so tired of... if you can't do it, that's you. That's between you, your partner,
As a
and
Christian,
God.
yes.
No, okay, not as a Christian. I'm telling those other ones. As
oh.
a Christian, please
Okay.
pray and wait.
Anyway, so like that was like a thing there. So like you'd see people, you know how you can see eyes and you're just like, this one is judging me. Like they're not even trying to hide. They are just like, the eyes have said everything that
Judging
But
you
that
for
doesn't-
what?
Yeah, I'm
like
so
if they see you
confused.
with a friend, and they know that probably you're with this person, like
Okay, but
they obviously know that
the
because like everyone,
assumptions.
yes, because everyone, like that's how life is there. What? So that's what they assume. Actually, where I confirmed that, like someone asked me sometime, so how do you do it? Like in regards to that sexual part. And I'm just like, do what? What exactly are you asking? I don't know what you mean. So it was a bit weird, like having to make them understand that, because you're a Christian and there's certain things that you don't do. But we thank God for the grace that He avails to not feel like again you have to pose as a certain person or like pretend that you do it just for the face. Just like, we thank God for the grace to stand by the truth and like by what He requires of us to do. Yeah.
okay, wait, but what did being godly have to do with the riots? I'm still so confused.
The chaos, like
So you're
the
saying-
reasons are valid. The reasons for the riots are valid
So you
because,
didn't
like,
try
let's say,
because of your convictions from God.
no. Like I'm saying, all the chaos that comes after. How am I going to call my mother? I'm in the hospital because I was part of this riot, and they ended up like throwing tear gas at me, and you get. So that's the chaos. The reasons are valid, but like you didn't take part because of also the outcomes or like the effects, the side effects that are bad. Does it make sense?
I think it's just a personality thing. Like, you didn't take a riot partner rights because you don't, you're a very calm person, so you don't want the effects of the riots. But I think rioting, if it's for a valid reason, is needed. Yeah, but that's
yeah, but also here,
On that
like
topic,
it
guys.
ends up getting into it ends up getting out of hand here.
does.
But if it's peaceful, yeah, it makes sense.
I wouldn't say it's a personality thing though, because my personality is one to, like, I remember when I first went to uni, my dad said, Ethel, don't I dare see you rioting. And like in high school, I wrote petitions. I was the first person to like be doing the most, yeah. But in MOOC, guys, the
Mind
way
your
police
business.
trucks just pull up into the campus, you think these are criminals and not people's children. And it's like, like recently they were rioting for government money allowance, which is so valid because some people, that's all they live on, and they're actually people who are starving, and there's supposedly like a young lady that died of starvation, yeah,
at school.
yeah. But guys, rioting, anyways, to each his own, and some people have to be the writers. Yeah.
Well, moving on. What, like, if you were to go back in time to the first day at uni, what would you do differently? First day.
Wow.
At uni.
First day. I don't think I would change. The very first day?
Okay. Yeah, first day, but then let's say the very first time you were at uni, that season, the beginning, let's say first semester, what would you do differently? Like, what do you look back and say, I could have done this differently, or I could have, yeah.
I think maybe I would take it like a few months before even the first day. I would have booked a hall and not a hostel, because I think if I was in the hall, the exposure to the real world would have been less. I dreamed,
but you do need it.
but I was 16. I was 16 in
God, you
a
were
whole
16.
yeah. I was 16 in a whole different country by myself. It was a bit much. Luckily, I guess with my kind of personality and the way I've been raised, I was able to handle it. But for anybody else, they could have fallen into like the drugs or. And the good thing is that I said, I had friends from high school, so they were like my big sisters. So they would, in case I would get confused, they'd be like, "Oh man." And the thing is, my father is a very friendly person. When you meet him, you become like his daughter. So he asked them, "Please take care of my child." So they'd be like, "Man, your dad." So. Yeah,
there was no space for peer pressure.
Yeah, there was really no space for it. At least in the first months, yeah.
If I'd go back to uni, there's two things I'd do differently. One, guys, study hard from the start.
Read your book.
Read your books. No, listen, and I do study, right? But like, this is a thing. I came from a very strict Christian Michigan household. That's how I'd say it. In high school, I was in day school, but I'd go from home to school, to tutors. Sunday you have church, Monday school. Same routine, in and out. Never boarding school, never leaving your house to go where? Party who is whose parents? My friends were my cousins, and like my 4 friends who's like our parents were friends with each other, yeah. So you reach uni and it's like, oh my gosh, freedom at last. First of all, I've never been in hall. There's no curfew. Mommy and daddy, when you watch this, I'm not saying I've done anything. I just like to clarify. But like, there's a sense of relaxedness, is that a real word, that falls over you, and like you wanna try out new things and do the most, and then you're giving less time to school. I think it didn't click me that I was in like law school until second semester. And I'm like, you all have been doing this since the beginning. In my defense, I also started uni like, okay, not young, but like a year and a half younger than like most people join uni. But like, I would say work diligently from the start, because it really does pay off. And then 2, picking your friends is so important. I never had like fake friends or any of those situations till I went to university at all, because I think technically before uni you realize all your friends are chosen by your parents, because they do choose the schools you go to, which now already makes you meet a niche group of individuals. And even if you make friends from there's like vetting they've already gone through. The birthday parties you think you went to make friends at, who let you go to those birthday parties? Your parents. So like,
intentional parents.
Okay. Yeah. So to a certain extent, like, uni was like my first time out in the wild, let me say that. And there's this verse, Proverbs 27:17, that says, iron sharpens iron. And you know, we all know how, I assume we know how it goes. If you don't, feel free to search it up. And I realized, very sadly, but I realized the impact the wrong friends can have on you.
Yeah.
And how much of a hell they can make your real life. And it's like, if I could go back, and like me, I had this, I would say, naive perspective when I reached university, right? So I'm not saying I'm not naive anymore, but I think the world has shown me a little shaggy enough to know, like, smiling and all doesn't mean they're your friends. Yeah, there's been some growth. And so I would pick my friends a lot more carefully, and I would study hard from the start.
That's nice.
Yeah.
More to what you've said, I would also study hard. I would also like read more. I don't know what I was doing in my first year. I promise you I didn't read. If my parents watch this,
You were just a child.
first semester mostly, I do not remember reading at all. I don't even know how I passed, and I passed very well. But I didn't read in my first sem. But I tend to think, like, if I had actually read that time, like, and I didn't read and I got those marks. Now imagine I had read. So yes, please read your books. Like, from the get-go, you'll just be glad by the end, like, how it all worked out, that you started reading in first sem. Moving forward. Then the other thing, I would be more intentional with speaking about my God, you know, and like inviting people to fellowship, to know God more, because I think the only people I ever shared that with were like people that were close to me, like my friends, the ones that I would discuss with, and like it was more like, oh, you guys, there's this fellowship, I'm going for it. Well, yeah, but like I tend to think back and say, what if I had like actually, you know, spoken more courageously about like the God that I trust and the God that I serve, right? And invited them to know this God that I serve. Like, how much more influence, or like how much more would that have changed their lives? But yeah, I thank God for the ones that came when they did. But I would do that more. Like, I would be more intentional about inviting people.
Speaking on that, I think one more thing I would do differently is being so intentional with like your Christian community from the start. Because it's like there's fellowships and whatnot, but when you go this Thursday and then you don't go the next Thursday, and it's so much harder when you've like fallen away from Christ to come back to God. But then I look at the people who have like from day one stuck by how like our parents had us every Sunday that way, and there's so much they've not had to go through to grow. And you see, this is the thing, if you go away from God's hand, he'll still bring you back, but like what you go through in that prodigal son journey, when you're eating with the pigs, you'll really learn. you really learn while you're eating with pigs, and trust me, it's not appetizing food. So I like something I wish I did was like be more intentional about certain stuff, because you reach points where like you start to feel, even just about your morals, you start to feel crazy because you're the only one holding them and having them. But this is the thing, if you feel like you're the only one believing in something the Bible is telling you to do, or the right thing, and you're the only one in your whole friend group being convicted, change friend groups. You're not crazy. There is people that believe that. You have just put yourself in situations and surrounded yourselves with people that when you speak about what you believe in, you seem crazy.
Yeah.
And the longer you're there, the more your perspective is going to change slowly.
Yes,
you
that's
create
exactly what I was
excuses.
Like slowly by slowly.
And then you find yourself doing things, and one day you just wake up and be like, who is this? Like,
slowly by slowly, they just start rubbing off. You think,
yeah, like, who is this? And so it's like, yes, it sometimes doesn't look fun and it looks like you're missing out on it, but let me tell you something, at the end of the day, those guys eat with the pigs. And once again, pig food, not those guys and it's not nice. So I would stick to that person. You're not missing out on anything by being the church girl or being Mrs. Goody Two Shoes.
Yeah,
you
just
don't
being your authentic self, man.
Yeah, and also like that whole being Christian means you have to be nice to everybody, let them walk on your feet. No, it doesn't. There is a difference. If you read your Bible hard enough, it will show you, and being overly nice is gonna get you in situations you don't want to be in the first place. So yeah, that's what I'd change. Okay. You seem like you wanna say
Yeah, Tabitha, do you have something to say?
No, it's not really. You see, when Ethel is talking, Ethel is like a baby sister, so I'm just looking at her and thinking about how much growth she still has to incur. So that's all. I'm just seeing where she has been to where she is and where she's still going to go. I don't really have much to say.
Cuties.
scare me.
Anyway, so last but not least, any word of advice you have for the campus students out there, people in uni? Yeah.
I think what I'd say for those who are abroad and are somehow watching this, my parents would always tell me, remember where you have come from.
Yes.
I was raised in a godly community. I think my parents, from grandparents to parents, they really tried their best to raise us in a godly community. So it wasn't right it wouldn't be right for me to then go to a whole different country and all of a sudden change. Yeah. So even in times of wavering, because they were there, I'm a human being surrounded by a whole new world. Even in times of wavering, I'd hear my parents' voice of, remember where you came from. And that's how I even ended up coming to Uganda, because when I was done, I was like, man, I'm done. I'm done. I want to go back home. Yeah, let's go home. And luckily coming home, I met my husband. So for all those who are struggling in uni relationships, there's hope. There's hope, yeah. But yeah, so remember where you came from. And even when you do fall short in university, it's not the end of the world. There are people who get pregnant. There are people who sleep around, drugs. It's not the end of the world. Our God is a redeemer. Exactly, He's a redeemer. Find a church, plug in. Yeah. So, by the way, another thing I forgot to mention is that the reality of university is you'll find people on Saturday clubbing, Sunday they're at church. And the thing is that our university would work around that knowledge, yeah, knowing that they'd put their services in the evenings, like would have from like 5 till 7, yeah, because
so you have enough rest.
Exactly, because they'd know that people would be hungover from the night before.
Like, I want to say that's such a beautiful thing that they're taking that into consideration, but at the same time there's the part of me that feels like
wrong.
There's no, I think it's the reason is not wrong. They're taking into consideration that there are people that won't make it because of that. I think they're having genuine hearts. I think what's wrong is the going and then coming, like the people, not the church.
Yes,
yeah, that's why I'm saying it's like because at the end of the day, God loves you even if you go to the bar. But and we shouldn't not minister to you simply because you were out last night.
And the thing about life is that you can't serve two masters.
You
can't have one leg here and one leg here. At some point, it's either you'll become engulfed in the secular world, or you'll choose Christianity. And what I really, really loved our churches at my university, my former university, because it was so like, I really wish, sometimes I feel like I could get like the All Saints. I'm also an All Saints girl. I wish I could get like the All Saints leadership, just take them to my university for like a month to see how they handle their youth, how they do it, and then they come back and implement the same things. Because it, from the activities to the fellowships to the conferences would go for, like, you'd feel like, okay, what I'm doing, it's life. It's life. It's not like how she said, when I'm scared, or going on a border in my dress. No, you didn't care. Like, you were doing life with people, not just your friends, but like you'd be in first year with your friend who is a fourth year because you met them at church. You're sitting with them in the dining because you go to church together. Yeah. So anyway,
just like that, you're networking.
Exactly.
You're going in God.
Exactly. Nice. Yeah. So that's what I would what was the question?
Advice.
This one advice. Yeah, plug in. We serve a redeeming God. So if you're falling short, plug into a church, or just talk to someone who, like Ethel said, is probably a Christian person, and they'll walk with you. Or reach out to us on the elderly programs. Thanks.
If you're a girl. Yeah. So my advice would be 2 Timothy 2:23, which says, "Flee with full passion and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart." And so, that being said, I think it's very important. The last part, along with those who call on the Lord. My closest friends who I met before university, that are still my closest friends, I'm so grateful that all of us believe in the same thing, right? And I remember in some of my toughest times, I can remember my best friend Chloe being on the phone with me at 3 a.m. because it's probably not 3 a.m. that side. And we're just talking and praying and crying and getting through it, right? Or like, me and Melanie can randomly have a call, and then at the end of the day, like, we'll be like, when you share with people that have a Christian background to you, even when they're giving you advice, there's a certain level of advice they'll never give you, simply because you believe the same things, right? So, what advice was the question? I would say, remember that God loves you and He has you. People are always going to assume things and judge you, whether you do the right thing, whether you do the wrong thing. So, where is your heart is the first question. And where is your heart with God? That should be your biggest conviction. He should be your biggest yardstick, right? And like one of my most recent IG posts says, for those that don't follow me, let peace it says, let peace be your umpire and God be your guide. So yeah.
Nice. Well, for me, it's just to, I think, let you guys know that enjoy it. You know, when you're at school, you feel like, when is this getting done? When are we finishing? Oh, we are tired. You're going to finish, and you're going to, okay, I don't know about other people, but it will seem like school times were easier.
Yeah.
So I think my advice to you would be like, enjoy it. Take one step at a time and focus. You know, you have a responsibility to yourself, to your future, to your parents, to study, to excel in the course that you're studying. So enjoy it, embrace it, and like give it your all. Just give it your all and ask God to be your number one guide and helper. He will surely come through. Yeah, life is there. You're going to finish.
Yeah.
So just give it your all.
And guys, I know I keep saying things again, but Colossians 3:23-24, right? It talks about working like you're working to God.
Yes.
You are, and this goes out to Christians especially. I know sometimes you get so caught up in serving God, you end up neglecting your academics. But at the same time, God has put you at that place in your life for a specific reason. And I think Phoebe's the one that said this sometime, and it stood out to me. Like, He has given you that to be diligently. So serve Him diligently with that, because that's a phase you're not going to get back to.
Yeah.
Right now I'm reading really, really hard, and I have like 1 year and half a semester to finish. But I can't go back to year one. You can redo the course units, but you can't go back and give it your all. So just...
Yeah, you can go back to school for like maybe a master's or post, but
even
like
if
you're
you
not
do
an
another
undergraduate.
degree,
Yes.
it's not your first degree.
Yes, exactly.
So like, do your best, like give it your all. Like, you're gonna feel like you're dying, but you won't die. If you die, man, that's God calling you home. You won't die. So just do it. Even when you feel like you're gonna die, keep doing it. You'll see that you don't die, and at the end of the day, you reap the rewards. And even when you're giving it your all and it doesn't feel like you're reaping what you've sown, because sometimes, a lot of the times, it feels like that, God is in control.
Yeah.
I don't know how to emphasize God is in control so much. Like, there's people who spend hours in the library and they have some of the lowest grades, and it's not because you're stupid. There's a reason God's letting that happen, and He has plans to prosper
Trust
you,
the process.
not to harm you. So God is in control is my encouragement to you.
Thank you, guys. That's all the time we had here today. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Comment.
Yeah.
Guys, we want to hear your feedback.
Yeah.
Tell us what you
Would like
think.
to hear from you.
And if you have questions, feel free to drop them below. If you have things you think we should talk about on this podcast, you can let us know. If you'd like to hear more from any one of us here, feel free to say so. Yeah, we hope you had a lovely time listening, and see you in the next one.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.